I'm Phyllis from the Doll Corner, and welcome to my channel. Today I want to show you how I make a pattern for a teddy bear. I made this little guy with a vest and a pair of pants, a bow tie. This one is the one I'm going to work on today. And how I start, I take my teddy bear and I set it on a piece of paper, and I take a pencil or something and draw a line around them, all the way around. And then when I have that done, I start to take some measurements, and I mark it on this chart. And I know his neck is 7 inches, and I know his waist is about 12 inches or 30 centimeters. And then his hips are quite a bit wider, and we'll call it 15 inches I'll need. So I mark these measurements down on my chart. And then another measurement that's pretty important is the measurement from here to this front seam, and that's 4 inches. And you see the back up to the waist is a good 7 inches, 6.5. So, and his leg is 3 inches. So I have this all on my chart before I start. And now I want to draw a pattern for my vest. And I have been used to use this. So I take my center mark, I fold my paper in half, and take my center mark and put it in the center of this chart. Now this chart isn't real even, but it's a nice guide. And I know my shoulder is 1 inch, but I need 1/4 of an inch for a seam allowance here, and I need a 1/4 of an inch here for a seam allowance. So that gives me 1.5 inches I want for the shoulder. And then I know my arm comes down to about here, so I just draw a line, sort of a curved line, the best I can. And I know I want this to go down 2 inches. And I go across here. And then from here, I go across to this line for my neck, back of my neck. So this will be the back bodice of my vest. So then I fold it in half and I cut it out, and I come up with the got lost. Oh, here it is. So I cut it out, and I have a piece that looks like this. So this is my back, and I cut one. So that was easy enough. So now I want to make where are we? I want to make this part the front. So I'm going to fold my paper again, and I get my shoulder right at this point. I wouldn't have to fold this, I guess, because I only want one of these. And then I match my sleeve, or my armhole opening here, and run it down my 2 inches and I go across here. Now for the front, I don't want a round, I want it to sort of a nice angle to it. So I just draw a line down to here. And then I want to bring this up. And I don't want to go right to my center mark. I wanted to make it a little bit less, and I won't put a seam allowance on. So that gives me my front part. So I cut 2 of these. And it looks like this. This is the shoulder and the arm, front. So this, when I get it cut out, will go here, and this needs to be trimmed off. So that's the front and the back. So now I cut it out of my fabric in my space here, and I cut a back out of lining, and I cut one out of the fabric I'm using, and I sew it at the shoulder seam. Sew it like here. And then I start here and I sew all the way around the 1/4 inch seam, and then a 1/4 inch seam around the arm holes. I leave this open and I leave this open. I sew around here and I sew across here. So these 4 side seams are open, so I can turn it. Now after I have it all sewn, I trim my seams down to about 1/8 of an inch. And I leave this like this, so I can make a seam here. So I only sew it to within 1/4 of an inch of this seam. And then when I have it all sewn, I trim the edges off, and I want to turn it. Here we are. Now this piece has to come down through here, and this piece has to come down through here. Or you could use either side, but they both have to come out the same side. So I have these little turners. And I catch it and I pull it through, and hopefully it doesn't give me too much problems. It's starting to come, I think. There we go. And then I go back up through here. And I catch this again on this side. And there it's coming through again. And then you want to give it a good press and get it all lined up just so your lining isn't showing on the front side. And now, when you've got that, you take the side seams and you fold back your lining and you stitch it here. And then you'll have to fold this in and hand stitch. But that makes a nice edge. And when you got that done on both sides, then take and top stitch it all the way around and around the sleeves. And that's your vest. But if you would like to trim it up a bit, you could use some trim and just sew it along the edge. Would look nice. Or you could use a piece of ribbon. Piece of gold trim. Let's see, what else did I have here? You could put a row of beads around it if you liked. There's just so many ways. That's up to you. Or you could just add 2 or 3 little buttons or beads. So that's really all there is to making it. It's quite easy to do. Now, the next video, I'm going to show you how I draw up a pattern for his pants. I'm getting him dressed up here. You see when it's pressed up, and you see you could use some of your trim. If you put this trim around, how much dressier it looks. You could put a row of trim down the side or along the bottom. There's so many different ways. So thanks for watching, and be sure and subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. If you have any questions, be sure and email me at dollfashion77@gmail.com or leave it in the comment section. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back with how to draw a pattern for his pants. Thanks for watching. Bye now.